In this video, you're going to learn how to put your songs, whatever songs you have planned for your worship gathering, into a key that your church can actually sing along with on Sunday. Coming up. Hey everybody, Spencer here from leadingworshipwell.com, your daily dose of practical worship leading tips. If you want to find those tips, head over to Instagram or Facebook at Leading Worship Well, where I'm posting new worship leading tips, just like the ones I'm about to share, every single day. So I'd love to connect with you there on Instagram or Facebook, but you're here on YouTube, so go ahead, hit the subscribe button down below, and let's get into it, because today we're talking about how to put a worship song, your worship songs, whatever worship songs you have planned for a worship gathering. We're going to learn how to put them in a singable key. And this is so important because so many people say, I wonder why, or they ask themselves, I wonder why my church isn't singing on Sunday. And it could be any range of things. I've talked about them plenty of times over on my blog before. But one of the reasons that you can fix really easily is to simply put the songs that you're singing into a key that people can actually sing along with. Oftentimes we're doing songs way too high and people can't sing that high, so just practically they can't sing along. It's not always a spiritual thing. Sometimes it's just a practical thing. And those things are super easy to fix because we just have to figure out where the key is of a song that the majority of the people in our congregation can comfortably sing along with. So I want to show you that range today. And that range, and this is something that people much smarter than me figured out, but the average range, and I use that term loosely, I'll get into that in a minute, but the average range of the voice in your congregation is between a low B flat, which is down here, first fret of the A string on a guitar, right there, that's the low, up to a high E flat, which is the 8th fret of the G string. So there's the range of what people in your congregation, generally speaking, can comfortably sing. Low B flat, first fret of the A string, high E flat, 8th fret of the G string. Now, with that being said, that is a super general range, and that, there's like bass, there's tenor, there's alto, soprano, all of these different voice types. So they flow outside of that range as well, but that is like the middle of the range, generally speaking, the average for everyone in your church, no matter what vocal part they would sing in a choir. So with that knowledge, we want to use that average to try to get the melody of the song, the notes that we're singing, or the range of the song, to fit within that range of what the average person in your church can sing. Once again, low B flat, high E flat. If it gets outside of that range, chances are people might be able to hit it for like a note or two, but if we're spending all of our time up here at a G, like singing that vocal part, that's going to strain their voice because they can't get up that high. And so either they're just going to stop singing, or they might just drop down an octave, and whenever you drop down an octave, it's quieter, and we're like, why aren't people singing along? And really it's just quieter because they drop down an octave because you put your songs up too high and they can't sing along with you. So let's get into the actual process of putting a song in a singable key, now that we know what is considered on average singable for our congregation, between that low B flat, high E flat. And I want to use the song What a Beautiful Name as an example here. And this is the general outline of the process. I'll show you an example of it with the song What a Beautiful Name, but first I just want to talk you through it. So what we're essentially going to do is find the lowest note of the song and the highest note of the song. And then we're going to see where it falls, and if it falls within that range that we've determined is singable for our congregation. And if it's not within that range, then we need to change the key, and we either need to bring it down or bring it up. So on to our example, What a Beautiful Name. We need to first start out by finding out the melody of the song, because that's going to show us where the lowest note of the song is and the highest note of the song is. So let's start to try to figure out the melody of the song. Whenever you're doing this at home, and you're going to see it whenever I'm doing it right now, it's going to be sloppy. You don't have to play the notes perfectly. The point is not for us to play the melody of the song perfectly. The point of this exercise is just so that we can find the bottom note of the melody and the highest note of the melody. So we're going to play this song with a beautiful name in the key of D, which I think is the original key that the song was recorded in. So you know the song. You were the Word in the beginning, one with God the Lord Most High. So you might need to sing through the melody a little bit to get it in your head, but then we want to actually translate it to the guitar, or you could do this on a keyboard or whatever instrument you have if you know that low B flat and high E flat range. So let's start to try to figure out the melody of this song. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to be sloppy here. It'll be okay. We're just looking for the lowest note of the song and the highest note of the song. So let's take note, all right? So it starts out. So that's the verse so far, and what I've noted is that we hit that low A note just for a split second, but that was the lowest note in the verse of the song, and the highest note so far was this B up here. You know, God the Lord Most High. So we're still within the range, so we're good so far. Let's keep going into the chorus, which is... So we didn't go any lower than that A, and we didn't go any higher than that B that we had hit in the verse originally. So we're still good. Once again, that was sloppy, but it's okay to be sloppy. We're just looking for the highest note and the lowest note. There's one part left that we need to check, make sure it doesn't go outside of this range that we're trying to get it to fit in, and that is the bridge. You have no rival, you have no equal. That part, let's figure it out together. So we're still perfectly within that range. We didn't go any higher than that B. We didn't go any lower than the A. So we actually find the range of this song, the highest note and the lowest note. We find that within the verse of the song. And what was that range? Well, the lowest note was a low A, and the highest note was a B. All right, so now we know the range of our song. Now we ask ourselves the question, did that fit within the range that we've predetermined is comfortably singable for our congregation? And the answer is, it is not. But, there is a but. That's all right. It doesn't always have to fit perfectly in that range of the song. If it fluctuates outside of it for like a brief second, for a note or two, people can still sing those notes. You just don't want to be spending an extended amount of time at the bottom of that range or at the top of the range, because that will strain people's voice. So we do hit that low A note, and B flat is what we said was comfortably singable, but we're just hitting that A flat just for a split second. Now, the other part of it is we only went up to a B, 4th fret of the G string. We've still got all of this real estate to work with. So if we really wanted to, which you don't have to, but if you wanted to, you could bring this song up to the key of E. So just up one whole step, and that would mean that now our highest note is a C sharp. right here, which is still within the range. That would bring up the bottom note from an A to a B. So now we're within the range that we think is comfortable for people to sing along with. So either of those would be good choices for this song because people can comfortably, I cannot say that word today, can comfortably sing along with the song. So I hope you see the process there of that one song. I'm going to cover one more song here, which kind of introduces a new problem into the equation. But that's the general process that we're going to follow for this next song too. We find the melody of the song and find essentially the range of the song, the lowest note and the highest note, and then we find where that falls within that range of what we said is singable for the average person in your church. And another thing that you also want to look for is where the majority of the notes fall within the melody of the song. So it's not just about range. It's not just about the lowest note and the highest note. It's also about where the majority of the notes are, like where the average note that you're singing in the song is, because the higher and the lower that gets, the harder it is for people to sing because the longer you're there. So if you're constantly like up here in the upper register, even if you don't go outside of it, if you're just up there, that's going to tire people's voices too. So we want to keep the average note of the song, whatever that is. It's called the tessitura, Tessitura. That is the official term for it, if you were wondering. We want to keep that within that range as well, and not at the top of it, not at the bottom of it, but somewhere in the middle. So keep that in mind as well, range and the average note of the song. Let's take a look at one more song as an example, and I want to use the song Cornerstone here. I think this song was originally recorded in the key of C, so let's take a look at it in the key of C. I'm going to be playing capo 5, G shapes. That's the intro. And now we're going to find the melody to find the range and the average note of the song. Sloppy once again. What did we find out? We found out that the lowest note of this part of the song is that low C right there, and then the highest was this note right here, which is an A. All right, so now I've got that in my mind. Let's check the chorus. Christ alone, cornerstone. Christ alone. There it is. So what did we find out? We didn't exceed that limit. Again, we didn't go above the range. We didn't go below the range. We're still, C is the lowest note, A is the highest note. So we're still in the range that we're aiming for. Now here is why I picked this song as another example. And that is because this song has an octave jump in it. And octave jumps nearly always complicate this process because whenever you do an octave jump, usually you're jumping outside of that range. The range of the whole song, no matter what you do, cannot fit into that predetermined range that we determine is singable for your congregation. So I want to show you what I do in that case. And here is where we get outside of the range right here. All right, so in the second verse of the song, my anchor holds within the veil. All right, so that's just the verse. We've jumped the octave at the end of verse 2, and we're already outside of the range. We're already hitting an F right there. So now that becomes our highest part of the song, and we're like, oh no, that is out of the range of what people can sing, so I need to bring the song down. Let's keep going, though, because it might get even higher in the chorus, because we're still up the octave in the chorus. So let's hear that Christ alone, cornerstone. right, so now we hit this G up here. That's way higher than the E flat that we said is comfortably singable for people. So now we have this huge range of the song where the lowest note is a C, falls within our range, but the highest note of the song hits that high G, and that's way outside of our zone. So what do? Well, we bring the key down, right? Because we want to get this note to fall within that range of what's comfortably singable for people. How do we figure that out? Here's the G. We're trying to get down to the E flat, so we'd go 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need to move it down at least 4. I'm just going to move it down 5 half steps because that'll just take the capo off. We'll be in the key of G, and let's take a look at what happens now. All right, we're down here now, same melody as before, just in a different key. All right, so now we know that the lowest note is now a G. That's outside, but we fix the high note, right? Because we go jump the octave in the chorus. Now we're only hitting a D, which is getting close to the top of our range, but it's okay. So do you see the problem? No matter where we move this song, it is going to fall outside of the range of what we have predetermined is a good congregational singing range. So what do you do in that situation when it is impossible to fit it in that range? Well, I want to show you my thought process behind it. So whenever I'm thinking about a song that is impossible to fit in that range of a low B flat to high E flat, I want to put the climax of the song, I want people to be singing all throughout the song, but if there's like one part of the song, which is usually whenever it jumps the octave, that I want everybody to be able to sing out as loud as they possibly can, then I want to put that higher part, the part where we jump the octave, the climax of the song, I want to make sure that that is in a singable key, and I want to prioritize that part of the song over the lower part of the song, which people could kind of talk through, or they could just sing along very quietly. The song's quiet at that point anyways, but whenever we jump the octave and we want it to be super loud and everybody singing along together, that's the part that I want to prioritize if I have to make a choice. So what's that mean for this song? Well, we determined that this is too low in the key of G. It's okay in the upper register. We could move it up, and this is what we do at my church. We do it in about the B flat range. All right, so now the low note is in that range. The high note will still be out of it. All right, so we're messing around at the top, but that's okay because that just means that people have to use a little more energy to sing it out. And then we just hit this. All right, so that is an F. So we got a little bit high there, but once again, if you just go outside of that range for just a second, we're not hitting that note constantly. It's not banging it again and again and again. We're just jumping up there for a split second. That's okay. We wouldn't want the whole song to be up there the entire time, but if it just does it for a split second, it's okay. So that's where I would put the song. I'm prioritizing the climax of the song, the highest part of the song, if the song is impossible to get to fall within that range that we want it to be in. So I hope that helped. Once again, the process for putting your song in a singable key. Find the melody of the song, find the range of the song, and then move that range of the song so that it fits into that predetermined average that we've determined is singable for the people of your church. Low B flat, high E flat. And one more caveat is this is just a general rule. This is a great place to start, but ultimately finding what key a song works best in for your church takes trial and error. Because the average says that my church could sing up here, right? But I found that my church likes to sing right around here, right around the A and the B and maybe the C at the highest. They can sing up here, they sing along, but they sing best right around this range. So whenever I'm picking songs for my church, and this could be different in your church, whenever I'm picking songs for my church, I try to keep that main part within this range right here, because that's when they are able to sing out the best. And I've determined that through periods of trial and testing different songs or the same song in different keys and observing. So now that you know this process and you can think about it in a quantifiable form, like where is the top note of this song, you can do a song in one key and then maybe you're doing it again the next week and you try it in a different key and you gauge people's volume and you actually have your eyes open whenever you're leading them and you can see whether they're able to sing along or not. And then you take note of that and then you put all of these songs that you've tried that process with together and you realize, just like I did, all of the songs that fall within this range, people can sing along really loud with those. And so I start to put more songs in that range. So I hope that makes sense. That's the process for putting your song in a singable key. Thanks so much for joining me today. Once again, my name's Spencer Cormany from Leading Worship Well. Go follow me on Instagram or Facebook at Leading Worship Well. I'm posting new tips just like these every single day. I'll catch you in the next one. Keep leading worship well.